and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm gonna talk to you about how to move abroad without having to invest a lot of money. I'm from a rather poor family and still I always wanted to travel a lot and to move abroad and to try to live abroad because that's an incredible experience and I think everyone should try it at least once per life. But again, I didn't have money and at first I just thought it's impossible for me to move abroad. But I learned that if one doesn't have a lot of money, one can invest the time instead. Because with the right investment of your time, you can get some value which you can bring to people. And in principle, that's how world works in my view. You bring some value, you get some money. And this case is not any different. You want to travel abroad, you want to live abroad, and you just have to be a specialist in some important field. In my case, I chose to be a physicist, and it was not a bad choice, because as a physicist you have not as high competitive level of your stipends, and it's relatively easy to get money. Also, physicists are valuable because physics is useful, let's put it this way. So, in my case, I studied in St. Petersburg Polytechnical University. I studied really well. I had only perfect marks from my second exam session, and it helps a lot if you have perfect marks, because that's one thing they really look at when they evaluate your CV and your motivational letter. They also look at your diploma, and you should have a good average grade. It's not necessary. Some people manage to get out and travel even with lowish average grade, but good average grade helps. Perfect one helps a lot. Another thing you should consider if you want to do like me and to get a PhD or master's abroad in Europe and don't pay for it yourself and get paid for it from a government or from an institution, you should do some research. Research is interesting and it improves your CV and motivation a lot because people see that you can already do something. Write some papers, participate in some conferences, even student conferences. That already gives you some experience in public speaking, in how to present your research and how to present yourself. It's also important. So, if you have your good grades and you have your research background, that's perfect. What do we do now? Now we do research again. On what? We do research on funding opportunities. You just do it in Google. And one thing to Google is to Google Erasmus Mundus funding. That's a very good starting point for me, in my view. So, master's or PhD? Bachelor programs are usually not funded, so first level you will have to get in your own country. And then master's or PhD, it's your choice. I went for a PhD and I did master's in my own country. I'm not very happy with this choice, and it was mainly made by my advisors, not by me. They said that for me, for my perfect scientific career, going for a PhD would have been much better because I would be more advanced and I would spend less time. I would not suggest you to go for a PhD, and I will explain why. As a master's student, you kind of participate in a general setup of studying, and you get in social because you study together with other people who study the same topic. You probably have a lot to talk about. You have to share your experience, you can hang out together, also you study together. In most of European universities you do some labs together and you have some company, and then you can also study for exams together, and that's also bring you some friends. In a PhD, at least in my experience, it can get really lonely because in a PhD, you essentially, how I see it, you have to prove yourself and you have to prove that you can carry the project from the beginning to an end alone. You have an advisor, but he won't do it for you because that's what PhD is about, to manage your own stuff. And you have another PhD students around you, most probably, but they also have a task to bring their projects to the end. And you can talk to them, you can share your experiences, and I have a lot of good friends still, but I would have preferred to be a master first and to have this cultural shock, this language barrier first as a master, not as a PhD. Because my first year I worked 12 to 15 hours and I lived very close to Munich. I lived in Garching and I barely traveled to Munich. I traveled like a few times. And that's a good impression of a PhD, because a lot of PhD students are very devoted. I really wanted to benefit the country I'm coming into. I was very grateful for my money, for my grant, and it's quite high risk of burnout if you go for a PhD right away, especially if you're a perfectionist like me. So that's our conclusion for today. Study well, do research, go for masters. Go for a PhD, but be very, very, very careful. If you enjoyed watching this video, please subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up, leave a comment. If you want to ask me anything about how to find your own funding, how to get into physics, maybe something else, please feel free to leave a comment. And see you soon again. Bye bye.